Hello there, Guildies. This is the Adventurers Guild. I'm Steve.
Still Jesse.
And you have tuned into a absolutely spectacular episode of Game Night. Specifically, this is part 3 of our currently 3-part series of Super Nintendo versus Genesis. Which game was better?
Steve, what came out 30 years ago?
Well, let me hit you with this and see if you can figure it out. Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds. $2 off. Hey, I couldn't find the place. Wise man once said, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza. So what is it?
Ninja Turtles, man.
Correct. We are playing the Super Nintendo and the Genesis version of Turtles in Time and the
Hyperstone
same
Heist.
but different Genesis game, Hyperstone Heist. So the Super Nintendo version is a direct port of the arcade game, and Hyperstone Heist is a port-ish? How would you describe it? Semi-port of the same game?
They try to recreate the same engine. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. But enough chitter-chatter. Let's get down to the intro music. Alright guys, here we are with the Super Nintendo version of Turtles in Time.
Arguably the best Ninja Turtles video game.
I would concur. So I am extremely familiar with the arcade version, and I know we're not comparing the arcade version to the Super Nintendo version. This is Genesis versus Super Nintendo. But I am very interested to see how they mesh up, because I haven't played this version since I was a kid.
I'm very interested on how Crane got so big he could pick up the Statue of Liberty. That's number one. Number two, really, Raphael's your favorite.
He is, actually.
I would think you're more of a Leonardo kind of guy.
So, introduction-wise, it's identical to the arcade version, which is a huge plus in my book. But again, we're not comparing it like that. Although, I will say that the arcade version had a really fun introductory theme song when it played. Which this obviously did not have. Although the audio quality, it was nice in the introduction. I did notice that this has digitized sounds, though. At the beginning of the stage, it said Big Apple, 3 a.m. or whatever.
Yep. And it is made by Konami. We want to make sure we see if the one for Sega was made by Konami as well. Because they also used to love doing that, was 2 separate companies.
So this is 100% identical, the first stage, and honestly most of the game, to the arcade version.
Look-wise, close to the arcade?
This is a direct port, so that is obvious why they would be the same. Yeah, look-wise, I mean, granted, sure, there are shortcomings for the Super Nintendo compared to an arcade cabinet, but visually, it is staggeringly similar. Very, very similar. You know, there's a little bit more definition in, like, the arcade version, for example. But, so far, on the first stage, from a visual perspective, it looks great. The animation quality is nice. You know, it's kind of a fast-paced attack game. You know, they're ninjas. So, you know, you would expect a fast-style attack.
They're actually Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes, they are.
Fun trivia time. Who voiced Donatello in the 1990 Ninja Turtles film?
I feel like I know the answer to this, and I can't think of it.
All right.
Who is it?
Corey Feldman of the Coreys.
Maybe I didn't know that. In both of them, or just the second one?
Just the first one.
Just the first one.
Then he was not asked to come back for the sequel, and then was asked to come back for the third one.
Huh.
Which is very awkward, because it sounds like Corey Feldman in the first movie. Second movie sounds like a really smart guy.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It does sound just like Corey Feldman.
And then the third movie, it's Corey Feldman again.
Yeah, this is staggeringly similar to the arcade version. There are obviously shortcomings. But I mean, gameplay-wise, it is spot on. The gameplay is very fluid. The game runs very well. I like the graphics are big and bright. The turtles look really nice. Sound effects-wise,
especially I like their still motion. I like the way Donnie holds his. I'm saying Donnie, like me and him are best
I like
friends.
that gun sound effect. You know, the audio is decent. I wouldn't rate the audio that I've heard so far as super amazing compared to like some Super Nintendo games, but it's definitely decent. And no, I can't hit Baxter Stockman just like in the arcade version. Oh, there we go. Oh, I love that they included the digitized sounds, the voices. That's awesome. I can't believe how little I played the Super Nintendo version. I played the arcade as a kid all the time. Every time I'd go to the arcade, I would play this. But I never actually owned the Super Nintendo version until just recently.
They released a cabinet with this on here recently. One of the mini ones you can pick up.
Oh yeah, correct. But that was the arcade version, though.
Yeah, but I still think it's neat to be able to play Turtles in Time.
Oh my goodness, of course. The arcade version is the quintessential way to play this game because this is a port. So.
Mm-hmm. And then they did remake it, if I'm not mistaken, for the Xbox and PlayStation 3, but nobody liked that remake.
Yeah, the re-release. Yeah. Or no, yeah, it was a remake. Correct, not a re-release. Good job. All right, let's play like the first 30 seconds of the second stage and then kick it over to the Genesis version.
All right.
I'm a big fan of the digitized voices, man. Props to you, Super Nintendo. Great work. Or I should say Konami. This stage is the same as the arcade as well.
We wanted to see what the alleyway looked like.
You know, it's funny. This is such a good quality port, man. This is a much better port than the original arcade cabinet got on the Nintendo, the original Nintendo. The original Nintendo version of the first game, you know, where it starts off in Channel 3 or Channel 6 News,
yep,
and everything is on fire. That game was very limited by the hardware. This game, you can very, very easily tell that they put a lot of work into it, and the similarities are staggering.
It is a really nice. Even everything looks the way it should. Like
yes.
The Foot Soldier looks like the Foot Soldier.
I agree.
The turtles look like the turtles. You can even see. You can't make it out, but you can see like they do have plates on their belts.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's nice. You can see the black in their eyes, which is incredible.
That's cool. All right, what do you say? Genesis time?
Yeah.
All right, let's kick it over to the Genesis.
Bye, Donnie.
In 3, 2, 1, the next thing you'll see will be a Genesis game. Okay, kiddies, and just like that, here we are with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Hyperstone Heist for the Genesis.
Rolls off your tongue like Turtles in Time, doesn't it?
It certainly does. All right, open mind here. Let's do this. They have digitized voices. They didn't sound as good, for sure.
Oh, it's almost the same character.
This is the same character select screen.
Close.
Listen to the music. Not as synthesized as you would expect, but I still don't think it sounds all that great. At least not that screen. This is identical to the arcade.
Yep.
And the Super Nintendo by extension.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And I would actually go as far as... Oh, actually, where's Krang?
They changed it up, man.
Yeah, no Krang. So this is such a weird port. Like, why would they even bother to make their own game? You know what I mean? Like, oh, that was Krang. That was like Shredder. Oh, that is Shredder. Huh.
And that's Shredder from the movie versus the TV show.
Yeah, you're right. So this is the difference here. So it's you could tell they very, very strongly tried to keep it the same. I bet you they couldn't get maybe the fidelity to the point that they wanted to get it to. Maybe this is just guessing.
Right.
So they had to tweak it some. Again, that's just hyperbole. I don't know if that's true or not.
Okay, well.
All right, we're starting in the sewers.
But the turtle sprites,
look decent, yeah.
I'm going to arguably say I think I prefer these over the Super Nintendo. They're a little brighter over here.
Yeah. Now, one thing I would like to point out for both Jesse and the viewers. For video capture purposes, we're playing this on a ROM. I own the cartridge. We're playing this on a ROM, but the reason I'm mentioning it is because the emulation is anti-aliasing the sprites, so they're not as jaggy and polygonal as you would expect. They're more rounded. That's why they look a little like almost. The word I'm going to use is going to sound weird, but they almost look a little wet. You know what I mean? Like
that is a good way to describe like an oil painting.
Yeah. So try to look past the point that the sprites are like that a little bit. I will say the gameplay is very tight. You can tell that Konami made both games.
Yeah, but this one runs a little faster, surprisingly.
It is a little quicker. I don't know if that's down to the emulation or not. I would say that they feel gameplay-wise identical.
Oh yeah.
I would actually almost go as far as to say the gameplay may be a little tighter on this.
Yeah. It's strange. It's strange because, like you said, it's why not do Turtles in Time again? Because it feels...
Well, I'll tell you what, being in the sewer is certainly going to require a lot less graphical horsepower. I mean, you're looking at like a 12 color palette here for that or less for the background.
But you see, same pizza boxes, same
scrolling background
Yep.
that Genesis is known for. They seem to do that with all of their side-scrolling games. You know, it doesn't have that parallax effect like Batman did,
Right.
where it's just one solid, constantly moving background. You know, repeating itself. The attacks are 100% identical to the Super Nintendo / arcade version.
It is true. Oh, I like that. That's really neat.
Oh, look, this is the second stage.
Yep.
This is literally the second stage.
But
Yeah.
they
But we're
counted
still-
this in the first stage.
Right.
Yep.
This is going to be a harder decision than I had
I
anticipated.
agree. I can't even the small details are
You know, looking past, I'm forcing myself to look past the sprites in general for the graphics, because of that wet look I was talking to you about with the emulation. So I'm focusing on the backgrounds. I will say the Super Nintendo backgrounds are superior, without a doubt.
yeah.
They're more colorful. They just look visually more appealing to me. But I don't know, man. The gameplay is really on point here. Although honestly, I'm not super impressed by the audio quality either. They had the digitized sounds, but listen to the background music.
It's just funny with both licensing. You would base the Super Nintendo off of the. Okay, just got ran over.
The flattening effect was nice.
Yeah. You base the Super Nintendo off the 1980s cartoon, and then base this off of the. Okay. Base it off of the what looks like the 1990 movie. Because that was definitely Shredder for the film, helmet and all.
Yeah.
Same.
I'm glad that Konami did both games because you can tell that they put a lot of care and love into
Yeah.
both of them. And back into the sewers. We just came out for a hot minute and back down.
Interesting. Much longer first stage.
Very much so.
Yep. I wonder who the first boss is.
You think it's Baxter?
I'm curious.
I actually never ever played this version as a kid.
I did play it as a kid. Me and my brother played it.
And I only recently acquired, just like the Super Nintendo version, the Genesis version of this, and I haven't played it. So,
I was a huge fan of the. I was a huge fan of my Sega growing up, and me and my brother did play this, and we enjoyed. We were huge Turtle fans though, but we never got Turtles in Time. We had played it in the arcade like everybody else, so I never got to really sit down and enjoy it like everybody did on the Super Nintendo.
right.
But if I'm remembering this correctly, what was Shredder's main guy in the film? The bald guy
In the first film?
in the first and second film.
Oh yeah, Tatsu.
Yes, he is one of the bosses in this. So if I remember correctly, this is definitely based off the film franchise. Because he was not in the cartoon.
These monsters you fight in the arcade game and the Super Nintendo version. They are in that game, and they work just like this. They pop out of the ground and they do that crazy diagonal assault thing.
It's terrifying. They look like little aliens.
So they're definitely reusing the same sprites.
So maybe it's a combination of both somehow.
Yeah, they took it and tweaked it for whatever reason. I would love to know the background behind that. I might have to do some research.
Do it on an update.
It's L-head, Leatherhead.
Oh, okay.
So this is not Baxter Stockman. You're too immature to hang with me. What a weird combination. They're merging both
Film and cartoon.
film and cartoon. Very weird.
It is. It would make sense with a Hyperstone though. I mean, maybe it merges realms or something.
I think you're looking into it a little bit too much.
Probably
there, buddy.
too much. They probably were like, Let's use what we can. One day, we got to just sit through and play this game.
I completely agree. Well, we should play the arcade. Oh, do you mean this version or the? Okay, yeah, this version. Sure. We should also play through the arcade version of Turtles in Time.
Got you, bro.
Thanks, Pally. I'm back. Cool. You see that? I tore him up. Not that one. There you go.
He says it's important. His name is Donnie.
Being beaten. I like that.
Oh,
good job.
jeez.
Says his name's Donnie.
Sounds edgy.
Scene 2. A mysterious ghost ship. Alright, since the first stage was so much longer on this one, let's just take a quick peek at the... Ooh, wow, this is a surfing stage.
Yeah.
And again, I despise the background.
It,
Although this does have a fake parallax effect.
It definitely is fake, though.
Yeah, that's actually a... I don't know how to describe it, but that's a weird clipping background. It's actually looks like one object that they're moving as opposed to two individual images that are scrolling at different speeds. So that's like a fake faux parallax effect. So that is definitely
that they attempted it though.
Yeah, props to them, but that's definitely a check mark to the Super Nintendo for sure. All right, I've had enough of the surfboard. What do you say we cut it to the outro and vote?
Let's get in our shells.
Outro time. Turtle, or actually, Cowabunga! This should be interesting. We have two games that are both extremely well done on two separate systems.
Made by the same company.
Made by the same company, Konami. Although weirdly, they're the same, but they're not.
No.
I can't.
Because they threw you off in the beginning. They were like, oh, it's the same opening cutscene. No, it's not.
Right, and then it's like the first stage is different. Oh wait, part of the first stage is the second stage. And oh wait, the sprites are all the same. Oh wait, all the attacks are the same. It's really weird amalgamation. Really weird.
It is.
So, with that being said, let's vote. Typically, we only vote graphics and sound. Since this game is so strange, why don't we put the gameplay in there as like a bonus?
Okay.
To pick our choice. So, graphically, who are we giving it to? Super Nintendo or Genesis? You want me to go first?
Yes.
Begrudgingly, I'm picking the Super Nintendo for better graphics, only because of the backgrounds. The sprites are very bright and vivid on the Genesis. They're identical. But the backgrounds, they just bugged me a little bit too much on the Genesis. Super Nintendo's version was superior. So, my vote, Super Nintendo.
See, this is where I'm stuck because I felt like the sprites were slightly better on the Super Nintendo. Or, excuse me, on the Sega. But the backgrounds were definitely better on the Super Nintendo. I'm going to go with Super Nintendo only because they were so close. Okay. I mean, I don't know if it's just because I played the Sega version afterwards, or that I thought it might look slightly better.
Right.
Because they were so close, so I'm going to give it to Super Nintendo.
Audio quality. I'll go first again. I'm very surprised that the Genesis had the digitized voices like the Super Nintendo did. They both sounded great. The Super Nintendo's probably sound a little better voice track wise, but with such limited voice, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to put that as like a wash. Music and sound effects, I think there's a slight advantage in sound effects to the Super Nintendo and probably a more significant advantage on the Super Nintendo for music. It's not as orchestrated as I would have liked, but the audio quality that they did have, I think it transferred well from the arcade version to the Super Nintendo version. And the Genesis version was more plain Jane, like you would expect from a Genesis version. So, for me, audio, Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you again. Turtles in Time, I think, always has the better audio.
And now for the bonus. We'll say gameplay. They're so close. So painfully close. I almost can't pick. But I will say, I think this particular instance, the Genesis version was like a sliver better gameplay-wise. I think because of the pacing. But, all the attacks are the same.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So close. I'm going to give it to the Genesis.
It's like that
just
point of a second better, or just faster gameplay.
Yeah.
I agree.
Blast processing!
But it's funny because they're so similar. I can still see why Turtles in Time is still so famous. and why this one was kind of lost
Yeah.
to history.
Super
No pun intended.
The Super Nintendo game is superior in my opinion, and that is my vote. The Super Nintendo is the clear-cut winner.
I agree. I agree. There's a reason why Turtles in Time is still famous to this day, and
Hyperstone Heist is not.
yeah, but they're both great. I mean, growing up, if you had either, you would have been fine.
Exactly. So, there it is. That is our official opinion on these Turtle games. Hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more of these Sega versus Super Nintendo, let us know in the comments. This was part 3 of our 3-part series for these games. So we'll do more if you guys like them. Just let us know. For the Adventurers Guild, I'm Steve.
Still Jesse.
You've been watching Game Night, and we will see you later. Cowabunga, dudes! Hey, the pizza.
Hey, the pizza?
Sure, why not? Which one of you lovely ladies is going to be getting a ride with me tonight? Dream on, dweeb. Haha, I will. But next time I'll dream of something a little thinner.